Hello, everyone, and welcome to another one of our team reviews of the 2025 World Tour season. And today, as always, I'm joined by Patrick Blake as we're going to be talking through Team Visma Lease bike, the second best team in terms of the World Tour rankings. And I mean, Patrick, Visma Lease bike, I mean, they are really the biggest threat to UAE Team Emirates. Not as many wins as them this year, but yeah, walking away with two Grand Tour wins is certainly a welcome return to winning ways for them.
Yeah, I think overall it was a pretty good season for Visma Lease bike. I mean, outside of not winning the Tour de France, but losing it to probably one of the greatest cyclists of all time. Everything else went quite well, I think, in terms of Grand Tours, which it seems to definitely be their main focus. They are still a one-day racing team. I don't think that really went quite as well this year as it has done in previous years, but there was also the whole Wout van Aert was coming back from injury from the Vuelta in 2024. So he had a little bit of a slower start, but kind of warmed up into the season quite well. And I think there's also some good performances, for Visma, looking at the likes of, their future talents of Nordhagen and especially Matthew Brennan, who was probably one of the revelations of the season. I think that Visma are also very focused on the future still and, winning 2, 3 years from now. And I think that with Nordhagen, they've got one of the better GC riders and Brennan is definitely like a classics contender in the making. I mean, you can compare him to probably like Sagan. I think people have definitely drawn comparisons to. So I think that overall it was a really good season and their kind of youth development is also going really well. So all things considered, I think it's pretty good.
Yeah, I think you're right. But if we focus on the first results, so these are excluding monuments and grand tours, because we'll look at that a bit more in detail later. 40 victories in total. Okay, one thing that you didn't mention, the blunder of the A3, I think that was a huge, huge embarrassment for that team. Three riders versus one Nilsson Paulus and then coming out on a loss. I think that was one of the craziest moments of the season this year in terms of racing. But that aside, they started the year very well with two wins in the Tour of Oman. They won the GC of Vuelta Al Garve with Jonas Vingegaard, who won the last stage there. They won the team time trial in Paris-Nice. Olaf Koy winning some more. They also won Paris-Nice for a second year in a row with Jorgensen. And then, as you said, we started to get some Brennan wins in there. Ben Tollett as well, winning a stage in the Copia Bartali. More wins for Matthew Brennan, even the overall in the Copia Bartali for Ben Tollett. And then there's some results in the Giro d'Italia, the Tour de France. Brennan and Coy both winning in the Tour of Polonia. The Tour de Land being won by Altebrooks, a winning return for him. More Brennan success all the way through this season, which was incredible. Tour of Britain as well, ripping that to shreds with Coy. And Brennan also taking a stage win. And their last victory was the GC of the new race, the Tour of Holland, with Christophe Laporte. So interesting set of results. And of course, we're going to talk about the two GC wins. But in 2024, just to give a comparison, they won 32 victories and not as many GC victories. And the year before, they won 69 victories. So down from 2 years ago, that incredible season where they won everything in Grand Tour racing. But what do you think of those results? Which stand out other than Brendan? Obviously, is there anything else that was kind of a really key result for you?
I mean, it's also worth mentioning like Laporte definitely had a very weird season as well. So it was good to see him winning that GC in the Tour of Holland. Like he came back really late and only really, I don't even know how many race days he had this year, but I think it was definitely less than 20 or so. So it was good to see him coming back from that. Kind of weird how like Wout van Aert came into the season after injury and then Laporte kind of did the same. The overarching theme here is that there's lots of stage victories and quite a few GC victories, but not that many classics victories. That's definitely taken a hit this year. I think, like you said, I think they've only got like, I mean, and this isn't just like cobble classics, but overall, like one day race results are down, but stage win results in stage races are definitely still one of their more kind of fruitful avenues. So yeah, a little bit of a hiatus in the Cobble Classics, and like you say, like that 3 versus 1 against Nielsen Palace was not something that they're going to want to be remembering. But yeah, I mean, 40 victories is still an incredibly good return, given that, Wout had a bit of a slow start and Laporte as well, being a key man, was out for quite a while. And yeah, I think that overall there were some other strong performances. Like Tullett was very good towards the end of the season, if even if the results, like the wins aren't there, like he was really strong during the Vuelta, and I think it was really good to see his development this year as well.
So now moving on to the monuments, the six biggest races in the calendar, including Strade Bianche. No, I'm kidding. Don't worry, Patrick, we would. But I mean, you was kind of saying it. Wout van Aert has kind of been their chief card in most of these races. In Milan-San Remo, he wasn't there. Eighth place with Coy. Fourth place in both Ronde van Vlaanderen and Paris-Roubaix, which I think was quite a good result from Wout van Aert considering where he was at the time. Liège, Tish Benoot 13th, and then Il Lombardia, their leaving rider of Outerbrooks getting 10th place. But over those results, would they be happy with that set of results? Obviously, they want monuments. Everyone wants monuments, but we're living in Pogacar and Mathieu van der Poel era.
Yeah, I don't know. It's hard to say, isn't it? I think that the expectation on Wout probably was not that high, I would say, or I'd guess, just because that injury from coming back from the Vuelta, I don't think they would have had too much expectation of him winning those races. But fourth places in Flanders and Roubaix, I agree with you. I think were quite good performances from Wout, all things considered. I was actually quite surprised that Coy finished eighth in San Remo, considering just how brutal it was. But I think that once the dust had settled temporarily after Pogacar's attack, I guess things kind of reconvened behind. And yeah, I think that Liège is definitely a bit of a disappointment. I think that they've got a squad which is capable of finishing inside the top 10 at least there. I know they kind of like to send Jorgensen to the Cobble Classics, but I do think that he'd also be quite a good Ardennes rider. So I think overall it is a little bit disappointing. Like no podium at all throughout any of the monuments is a little bit of a letdown for the second best team in the world now. So yeah, I think that's just something they need to try and improve upon. I mean, if they would have nailed that Dwars door and not just given the win to Paulus, then maybe things would be a little bit different. Like getting at least that one victory out of it in the Cobble Classics would have been good. But yeah, just getting none, especially going from like Jorgensen was pretty successful winning Dwars door in 2024. I think they definitely took a bit of a step back this year from a Cobble Classics results.
Yeah, I mean that thing is gonna live in the memories forever. I mean the Ian Stannard one against Quickstep. How long has that been in the cycling consciousness of all us cycling fans? So I mean that's just a new one. Yeah, I think definitely room for improvement. I think they will for sure try and do better next year. Now coming to the Grand Tours, you hinted about the Vuelta a bit, but the Giro d'Italia, I mean Simon Yates pulling off one of the heists that we haven't seen in a while. I mean flying under the radar for most of the race. He's such a good GC rider as well. He did almost the reverse of what he did in 2018, where he was very animated in the beginning, and then here doing exactly the opposite, and then exactly the opposite on that Col de Finestre stage, not collapsing, but actually going full charge. And I mean, them getting Wout van Aert into the break, we spoke about it in the UAE one. Crazy that UAE even let them do that. But yeah, Visma Lease bike absolutely took that opportunity and grabbed it with both hands. And Simon Yates winning the Giro without taking a stage win. But of course, Wout van Aert took that very good Strade Bianche stage win as well. Was there more stage wins from them?
I think Coy got one. Yeah, Coy got well, no, sorry, Coy got two, stage 21 and stage 12, and then like you say about Wout van Aert one as well.
Pretty good race for them, yeah.
That's pretty, yeah, I think it's pretty good. Relatively understated, actually. I think that it's quite easy to forget. I think outside of Wout's, Wout's very memorable. It's very easy to forget the sprint ones, but you know, they all still count. And like I say, fantastic performance from Simon Yates. It felt like for years he's sort of kind of after that 2018 Giro, yeah, then he went to win on the Vuelta, but then kind of had some years where it was a little bit strange. Didn't really know what was going on. Just not really getting those results. And it feels like ever since the 2023 Tour de France, where he was it the 2023 when he was fourth? Yeah, it's good to see that Simon Yates has finally sort of really got that Giro gremlin off of his shoulder and very understated performance, just snatching it on like pretty much the last day of real action. Very well executed.
Yeah, well, Van Aert was also up on a few other stages. The one where there was like a drag race to the finish between him and Mads Pedersen, and Del Toro was third. I thought that was a very good stage as well. But yeah, wow, really proved himself like how an important asset he is as a teammate in a Grand Tour. That aside, Tour de France 2025, another second place. Wow, again, winning a stage, third Grand Tour in a row. So like he won at the Vuelta, he won at the Giro, and then won at the Tour. But yeah, what did you make of that? Leaving with no jerseys, second place with Jonas Vingegaard. Vingegaard no stage win, but Yeah, it was quite a negative racing. That's how we kind of felt at the time that Jonas was never attacking. He was only marking Pogacar, not really trying to throw the gauntlet down on Pogacar. But I mean, that's easier said than done, let's be honest.
Yeah, I think the main thing is that I'm fairly certain they said in press releases beforehand they were talking a big game about, having an aggressive race and really taking it to them, and then that's just not what it reflected on the road. But like I say, they've still got two stage wins out of it, with Simon Yates as well getting one on stage 10. So I think overall it's fine. Getting like if Wout didn't get that second stage win, I would have said this would have been a very disappointing tour, but two stage wins.
Very disappointing second place in the
Well,
tour.
yeah, I don't know. Disappointing, not very disappointing, but just disappointing. I mean, they can take some solace in the fact that I think Jorgensen really took a step up as a GC rider over 3 weeks in this Tour de France, which shows that he might be able to take on some leadership capabilities next year. Maybe he might get his own Grand Tour. It wouldn't surprise me if they send him to the Giro as a leader, or maybe they send him with as a co-leader with Jonas to the Giro. I don't know, but I think that was a really promising outcome from the tour was Jorgensen's consistency over those 3 weeks. And if he wasn't like a domestique, then who knows what he might be capable of. He might be able to be like a top five contender for sure, I think. It was also really cool to see Wout winning that final stage. Really felt like a return of 2022 Wout van Aert just for like 10 minutes. And yeah, it was really good to see actually.
Only rider, I think, to drop Tadej Pogacar at the Tour that year as well. Well, Jonas had that
Yeah,
late attack where he dropped him for 5 seconds. But yeah, okay. Do you think we're ever gonna see Jonas Vingegaard win the Tour again? Is he gonna close that gap to Tadej Pogacar? Because the gap at some points it seemed like he was just playing with him. There was no, well, Jonas did crash in Paris-Nice, but it wasn't as crazy as the crash in the Tour of Basque Country where he still made it back. But here, it seemed like every time Vingegaard tried anything, Pogacar was on him straight away. And in the Dauphiné, it was even more brutal in those last two stages.
I don't know really what happened this year, but that gap got bigger. We all saw it. Is it 2024 versus 2025? I think Vingegaard was just gapped more. And like you say, it wasn't just in the Tour, but it was also in the Dauphiné. Like it was just unbelievable at points where I thought this is the same Jonas that beat Pogacar, or he's beaten him twice. It's just completely different. I have no idea why. Why is there no competition anymore? What's happened? It's like we want competition. That's what we want to see. Do I think that Jonas will win the Tour? Honestly, no. Not against Pogacar. If Pogacar keeps on this arc, I just don't see it happening. Yes, I know he crashed in Paris-Nice, but I just can't believe that one crash, which doesn't really cause that many like major injuries or anything, can absolutely curtail somebody for the tour. Like I know that Pogacar crashed in like Liège and it completely kind of ruined him, but that was just a more serious injury than just some, I don't know, road rash and a bruised coccyx or whatever that Jonas got. He's just got to wrap himself in bubble wrap or something and just not race at all and then just go to the Tour de France off of nothing. Is that what he's going to do now?
Maybe you never know with Visma Lease bike sometimes, but yeah, because even in early part of the season, he didn't look as aggressive as he's been in like some of the other seasons where he's just been ripping everyone apart in races. So yeah, I don't know if Vingo had the best start into the season. He also said in a recent interview that he would always go to the tour unless he thinks he can't win it. So I mean, the belief in him still has to be there, but the one stage where I really was like, oh my goodness, the level is different now, was the Horticum stage where he puts in, what was it, 2 minutes into him on a 12K climb and almost beats the record as well of Bjarne Riis on the climb. And Jonas was just no teammates, no one helping him, isolated, really mano a mano. And there you just saw it, Pogacar just a step above him. And I don't know how they're going to close that step.
No, me either. I just realised I made an absolute blunder. Jonas did not just win one stage for Vuelta. He won three. That just goes to show how little attention I was paying to the Vuelta this year.
Like if we touch on the Vuelta as well, a very strange race because of all the protests and all that. But Jonas didn't have that snap. I didn't feel like Almeida is a great rider. We saw that this year. He's had probably his best season. But on that Angliru stage, I thought Jonas is gonna absolutely tear him apart here. And Almeida literally just rides up the whole mountain on the front for the most part, and Vingegaard doesn't attack at any point, and that's where I was like, is he suffering here more than Almeida?
Yeah, we definitely thought that at the time when we were doing the recaps, weren't we? How I just felt like Jonas was in survival mode throughout the whole Vuelta, and we thought, oh boy, here we go again. He sat on the wheel of another U-Heat rider for another Grand Tour. But I think there was some rumors or I don't know, fact about that he was maybe a little bit ill for that second week, and then he kind of came back in the final week. It's possible. If that is true, then that would correlate with his sort of little bit of a hiatus and their overall defensiveness during that second week. I think that would definitely, add up. But yeah, we definitely didn't see a full guns blazing set of Jonas Vingegaards when during that Vuelta the whole time. It was a quite a calculated race, it felt like. And I think we just considered Jonas to be head and shoulders, just at least the second best GC rider. Like better than Lipovitz, better than Remco, better than Almeida, and everybody else. So we were just like, why is he not attacking? Why is he playing this so defensively? Like, come on, Jonas, please. We've just watched you for 3 weeks, just not attacking Pogacar. Please, could you just do something? So, oh, you know what? But he put time in stage 20 at least. Better late than never.
Yeah, that final stage, quite a brutal climb. And yeah, we'll see if Vingegaard can do something. They have a very strong team, as we know. We'll get onto the transfers as well. But if he's ever going to win, that is a big question. He's older than Pogacar as well, and obviously you've got very fast kids coming through the ranks as well. Del Toro, Paul Cesaks, Florian Lipovitz, all these guys raring to go as well. So that is a bit of a question mark, but we'll see. I mean, I think he still has 2, 3 years of really solid form. Hopefully, I mean, hopefully more for us Danish fads. That aside, we spoke about the Vuelta a bit as well. Other than Jonas Vingegaard, as you said, 3 stage wins. Yeah, defensive. You've kind of said it. Defensive at the right points. A brilliant way to just conserve the victory, get that victory. And I mean, they hadn't won the Vuelta since 2023. It's not that long, but they just wanted another victory. And for Jonas as well, it's great to be on the top step of the podium and get another victory. Is this the better way, maybe? Like Contador was forced to take a break from the tour and did the Giro Welter win. Is that maybe something Vingegaard should think about as well for 2026?
I think he should think about it. I think it's viable to just get the two Grand Tour wins and skip the tour for a year, but I just don't see a way that they wouldn't send Jonas to the tour.
Yeah,
Like you said, he
too much
has
money.
to. Yeah, exactly. Like there's no way you're not going to send him. He's the only person who has any sort of realistic chance of beating Pogacar, so therefore you have to. Even if the chance of you winning is like 10%, you have to bank on that 10% as best as you can to beat him. And because you never know. You always have to go with the premise of you never know. Something may happen to Pogacar. You're not going to be able to win unless you send your best guy there. So although I think that the Giro Vuelta Avenue is certainly a viable strategy, I think that I just don't see it happening. I could see him going to the Giro though. That was definitely rumored for this year, didn't materialize, but maybe it'll happen this year. I don't know. I doubt it though. It's too much danger of crashing and illness and
The weather.
yeah, I really just don't see him doing the Giro Tour double like Pogacar did.
But anyways, now focusing a bit on the future. This isn't our team preview of the Visma Lease bike. That'll come later. And yeah, we'll get the confirmation of their full transfers later. But in terms of riders leaving, there's a significant portion of riders leaving, and this could be quite detrimental for them if they can't fill the gaps. Tish Benoot and Olaf Koy raided by Decathlon AG2R or Decathlon CMA CGM team. Dylan Barger going out as well for Quickstep. Van der Sande retiring together with Daniel McClay. Bahrain Victorious are getting Attila Valter, Julian Vermont. We don't know if he's continuing with the team. Brooks, that was the biggest shock, I think, to us. He's leaving to Movistar team. Thomas Glow going to Q36.5. I mean, Patrick, out of those transfers, there's a whole lot of stable riders in terms of their GC teams, etc., going out the door.
Yeah, there is. I think for me, I've like Benoit and Coy are the biggest ones. I think Van Baarle is also that road captain, experienced person who can really settle things down and provide that voice of wisdom, which is an undervalued aspect of riders' kind of capabilities. It's not all just about what's and watts per kilo and who's getting race wins, there's like a certain level of undercurrent stability that those experienced people really bring. You can't just have a young squad of just people who are just really jittery. You need that balance. Van Baal will be a loss, and yeah, Val does some good medium mountain support. I mean, McLeay retiring kind of correlates with Coy leaving, who I think is ultimately the biggest loss because Coy gets lots of wins each year. Maybe a bit of a hint of Visma removing that sort of arm of their team, that whole sprinting bit, because Coy and needed a lead out train as well. So I think removing Coy, maybe they're pushing a bit more of their resources into just focusing on general classification and just in the future in general. But then like losing Itabrooks as well. Although to be fair, like Itabrooks, okay, this is gonna sound hard, but it's Itabrooks. Like, it's a loss, but it's not detrimental. It's gonna be fine. I just think that like Itabrooks and Gloga sort of were GC projects which didn't work out, and they're just sort of going on to different pastures. So I think it is quite a loss though. There's a lot of big names going out.
Flip side coming in, and I mean, maybe they're thinking a bit about the Matthew Brennan arm, so there is still a bit of sprinting alive. Owen Duell, Bruno Amarai, David Peganzoli from Polti in Malta, Filippo Forelli, Timo Kielik, Anton Scheffer, Pietro Matteo, and Tim Rex, those two riders coming up from their development team. Yeah, what do you make of that? I mean, some interesting names in there, not quite the names that I thought. I mean, Peganzoli and Bruno Amarai, yes, I thought that's the kind of Visma would sign, but the rest of them, I'm a bit like, okay, this. We'll see what this goes.
There's some logic going on behind the scenes here that we're not privy to. But like you can tell what's going on here. Like it's a little bit of a mixed bag of names. There's no A-listers, but they are aiming to fill the roles which they've lost in the other transfers, and they're filling them with people who probably don't fetch as much of a price tag as like a Benoit or Coy do. So it's almost redistributing your sprinting budget into GC and other aspects. Like say Brennan is still around, so the likes of a Duel, a Fiorelli and a Kielik definitely help out with Brennan and keeping that probably for like him and Laporte, and just generally quite good for their one day teams. Duel and Kielik especially in that, and then that medium mountain support with Amarai and Piganzoli also for more like the higher mountains, so kind of replacing Itabrooks and Gloag there. Yeah, Anton Schiffer is a bit of an interesting one. Didn't he win a stage of the Sibui Tour or something like that? Probably got him off of that result only, I would say. Bit of an unknown, but he probably doesn't cost that much to sign, and it's a pretty low risk, high reward signing. And then the other guys from the development team, I mean, you probably just sign them because they're like, I don't know, running out of contract in their development team, and you're like, oh well, that's just some good people to put on the front as domestique. So I think it's a mixed bag, but I think it makes sense when you start to pick it apart.
Yeah, I agree. I think it is definitely an interesting set of riders, and there probably is a few holes that they're missing out on. I can't see like a Tish Benoit role getting filled in there, so it'll be interesting to see what their future is with that. But I mean, Patrick, we'll talk more about the future in our preview episode of the team. We have already done UAE Team Emirates as well here on the channel for the team review. The Tour de France route is coming up this week as well, so there's a lot of things to stick around for. Make sure to smash the like button and comment down below what you thought of Visma Lease bike season this year. I mean, I think it's been pretty good. Patrick?
Yeah, I think so. I'd probably give it at least an 8 out of 10.
I agree. 8. About 8, 8.5. Maybe a bit better with the monuments.
Yeah, probably.
But anyways, with that, thank you for watching, and we will see you in the next one.